Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
I'm here.
This is CKME Productions bringing you with a TV season review.
So we're right back at it with the selling with the Jolly Roger of the Straw Hats and seeing their adventures unfold as Luffy continues on that dream of his becoming king of the pirates.
This is One Piece,
The Netflix version.
Season 2, Into the Grand Line.
Whew, so we are barely scratching the surface as to how long this series is actually going to truly try to adapt this phenomenon of anime.
Yeah, just a quick comparison that just not too long ago after I started recording the video. If the Netflix plans to at least adapt everything pre-time skipped of One Piece, at least based on comparison to the anime, not the manga, the anime. The pre-time skipped episodes was around more than 500 episodes.
I'm sorry, can we just break that? Again, hear that. 500 episodes. That's unreal.
Yeah. And they said, there's like some internet interview said the author Eiichiro Oda of manga of One Piece said he does have a plan time like an arc where the Netflix could end. Even then, if you plan on ending at some certain point, the story is not done yet.
Exactly,
so
they're still going on with this.
It'll be an awkward way to end it pre-time skip, especially.
Fingers crossed they don't run into the exact same phenomenon and issues that unfortunately headed around with Game of Thrones and the development of that storyline.
Though there's plenty of stories.
Yeah, for One Piece One Piece to adapt. But the other thing, there's other issues that revolves around that in general. Again, we're dealing with a live action adaptation, which means unlike a cartoon where you can control the sway of age and and progression of time, that ain't necessarily going to be the case for the actors who are currently playing these characters. And it's incredible they was actually able to scrounge out the kind of actors who were able to play these characters in general. I mean, that's some hard things to do. So again, if we're out here giving out awards for casting directors, they darn sure deserve to get some accolades here.
When the first season, and now it's 23. Season 2 is 2 to 3 years after the release of season 1.
Yep.
So you can understand the frustration and concerns that we have when it comes to getting these story out there. Luckily, season 3 is at the time of the video is being filmed because they announced that very quickly enough.
They're going to have to seriously consider cutting down even far more so story plot points if they even feel up to the task of trying to tackle many of the arcs that the show needs to be able to adapt. But let's focus primarily on where this particular season landed.
So season 2 kicks off a little bit after season 1 left off, when after Luffy and the Straw Hat Gang defeated Arlong of the Fishmen pirates, and they got their Luffy finally got his most wanted poster bounty on his head.
Something that's going to continuously balloon in outrageous proportion.
It continues to expand, ideally, especially since the crew are now into the Grand Line.
Exactly.
But the scope of the game, much more into the bigger scope of the story, getting hints at least that there are new islands to explore, and seeing the recreation of some of these islands and characters continue to be some of the most
never would have thought that One Piece is definitely one of those stories in which the visualization of it you would never think would work out. I mean, it's pretty much like the Flintstones and stuff like that going on here, where you have outrageous architecture and costume design and actual live action characters that you had to bring to life, that you just feel as though like, oh my god, anybody was like, how could anybody jump on this particular series with a straight face?
More on that production. We're seeing when we get into the Grand Line, right away they start seeing a lot more of the danger that unfolds them. Not only that there's a bounty on their heads, but they're stirring a lot more troubles on basically almost everywhere they go.
Specifically, this particular go around, the major threat that really circles the Straw Hat crew comes in the form of assassins that are known as the Baroque works. And if you are a fan of the manga or a fan of the anime, then you already know that these characters are nobody to sniff at. There's some hard hitters out their ranks, not including, of course, their main boss, who seems to already have it out for them just because of all the meddling they've been doing.
And this storyline of the Baroque Wars is going to continue on in season 3. This is essentially, as far as storylines of manga concerns, this is telling the Alabasta arc. They're having next season is actually they will explore that actual region, but it's getting to their point, mainly to the point of the introduction of one of the Baroque Wars members, the Miss Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, whose actually name is Vivi, if you know the anime and manga. And essentially, once we get to learning about her character, that's when we start seeing more of the plot moving forward on ahead.
We also are introduced to other unique characters. We get to see the introduction of a fan favorite, that being Nico Robin.
Well, Miss All Sunday.
Oh, Miss All Sunday, but she's already dropped in there.
Chopper,
and his entire story right there, pretty much, for Chopper.
Baroque Works is basically the introduction of a lot of main characters going forward. This show continues to be 8 episodes long, but as opposed to some other Netflix shows where it comes to it feeling like a long movie that's continuous,
that's chopped up into bits and pieces that it forces you to have to go into the next episode. I find myself, or at least I feel as though we found ourselves on multiple occasions being able to enjoy a full episode and leave it there, maybe one or two, and then it's like, you know what, we got enough, we got a good helping of what we wanted to see, and we'll definitely not stopping there, but we could jump on in the next day. I feel as though they did a really good job as far as editing is concerned when it comes to trying to stylize or build out the episodes.
Yeah, I'm surprised that because of how the episodes very around a full hour to almost for each episode, or at least close to it. I'm surprised that Netflix don't, at least for this series, and especially with another their Avatar: The Last Airbender show, that they just this should be one of their shows that they do drop weekly. Yeah. Because so much story that they're able to contain with each episode.
I feel as though that if they really do honestly want to tackle the beast that is One Piece in this full episodic length, I think they might have to consider becoming a weekly show where they just keep pumping them out, because I
can't really pump them out.
The
scope of the production.
That's true, but at the same time, it's they're going to have to come up with some really interesting.
At least renew as soon as you see the first week or first couple of weeks are really strong. Yeah, they need to renew the seasons as fast as possible
and go into production. This is a long journey.
That long journey is due to the very expansive cast of characters. Because they expanded even more characters, we're going to discuss the characters just in their groupings, starting with the Straw Hats. Very mild,
If anything, I feel as though this season has cemented that the group of characters it was introduced to from the first season and the actors who are portraying these characters have truly embodied who we want to see in each individual member. I feel as though they continuously showcase why they got the parts they did, and we gain. I feel as though when it comes to certain characters like Sanji and Usopp, I feel as though those two, they get a lot of the cool character development moments, and I really do appreciate, especially Sanji's heart to heart with Nami when he was taking care of her.
Yeah, they what this season do with the characters is while also introducing and cameo characters that don't even have more of a play later down the road. For Sanji and Usopp, their character developments do happen a lot. A lot of it happens later in the and it's very smart of them to like start hinting at those stronger developments that help deepen those characters earlier now, because you don't know when the show's going to be ending. For Sanji, of course, like
the womanizing aspects,
to down with Perv, but they do have that romanticism of his character in a more respectable manner,
where it doesn't come across as creepy as if you just want to jump on every last individual out there that just so happens to have a double X chromosome. So in this particular case, it really does come from an appreciation of just being out there and experiencing people and having to enjoy and having people experiencing his side of how he views the world through cooking. And
Usopp, that his character development may have been like being far from the coward that he still is in some ways. But he's growing. Like, there's more idea of growing what his strengths are. As a matter of fact, this season even more highlights the inventor side of him. That's even more so than what that's mostly highlighted later down the season role in the series. To start building up that now helps build on a more impressionable in live action sense. Rono Zoro, the actor, he's really good at his job.
Exactly. I feel as though whenever I'm looking at him on screen, I could truly understand that this individual is Zoro.
And also Nami, highlighting her navigational skills. That doubt of certainty of entering this new terrain. Good storyline for her. Basically, for Straw Hats, the interaction with most of the cast, they are the heart of the show, and we understand why.
It's so true.
Baroque works. The assassins of codenames of either the numbers or gays of the week or creative twists and turns on that. Not really good realized characters.
I feel as though each one feels even feels unique, and they embody who they were when it was introduced in the manga and the anime. And again, it's just a really awesome job that Netflix has done, and the team that's been working on the show in order to emphasize and give each particular character their due. And I'm always going to praise this series for going ahead and doing the whole transition or title cards for each of the characters. That's so cool, and I'm really happy they actually continuously do that.
It's a subtle breaking the fourth wall
that just works.
Mere fact that they got David Dastmalchian as Mr. 3.
Now, I mean, that man is just a chameleon, whatever he's doing. Not really to say a chameleon, but it's a joy to be able to see him work. He picks roles that definitely works for him.
Yeah, and the actors who they got for Miss All Sunday here, you couldn't get a better casting to play Nico Robin here.
Exactly. Serious kiss on that. Again, if they're handing out awards for casting, they definitely deserve some accolades for doing what they did for this series.
As far as strong performances go, is character-wise, when we get to Chopper's storyline near the end of the series, this is when
end of the season.
Chopper is being portrayed, is brought to life by 3 different methods. Mikaela Coopers does the voice work.
Yes.
Of course, CGI work is being done with a lot of stand for most of the scenes.
For his basic forms.
And then when we get to start introducing more his other attributes, clearly enough, going forward, there's also going to be live action man-in-suit action.
But I feel as though it never goes into territories where it's just like, this is clearly a man-in-suit. I can actually feel like the character is still being brought to life, even when we're looking at him in these 3 unique aspects.
Mark Herlick as Dr. Herlick.
This man did not have to go as hard in his role as he did. I felt like you go through it, seeing his storyline and his unique relationship that he has with the character of Chopper.
And the wildest and bombastic world that is One Piece, the mere fact you can pull off a serious performance to that degree.
This man is here for just a few minutes, and I'm
it's not a few minutes.
He's been for a couple of episodes, but definitely more in one specific episode in general. I feel so. He needs to get an award.
And Katie Seagal, for playing the character of Dr. Karina, a role that most people were campaigning for A-list actress Jamie Lee Curtis to be in.
I feel as though she knocked out the part.
Good replacement.
Yes.
Good
I feel as though you couldn't dream of getting a better replacement as what was done with her.
Yeah. just like she is the character.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a lot of these characters are not going to be shown again.
Exactly.
Another character that is definitely going to be shown again later down the line, but I feel as though is a good testament on a combination of the bombasticness of One Piece, but also taking this role to such a degree that matches the tone, is the actor Rob Coletti, who plays Wapple. That is like, he is on par with Jeff Ward, who plays Buggy the Clown.
It's just so awesome that they was actually able to do here. I feel as though if the caliber of villains and just character development that we're getting with just these particular characters is as good as it is right now, I can't wait to see how well Joe Magaloni does when he gets his full spotlight with his role in the series down the road, and when we get to introduce with characters like Rob Lucci and all, and the rest of them down.
We do.
Oh my God!
I do say, as far as criticism is concerned with characters anyway, I do have to circle right back to Luffy. Now, Iñaki Godoy, who plays a very admirable portrayal of Monkey D. Luffy. A character who has mighty highs of emotion to a degree that is very sporadic. At times, I do feel as though his performance is still a mixed bag in some regards.
It's mostly goes towards the idea that he's trying his hardest to continuously embody what the main vibe is for Luffy, and tries to stay in that area where it's like it almost sometimes veer into the territory of almost overacting in certain respects. And I feel as though if he tones it down just a tad bit and really focuses on the emotions of the scenes that he's dealing with each character and the moments that Luffy has to sit in.
He does well with the spontaneous moments of Luffy. But it's the shifting of gears.
When he has to deal with when everything is not just a joke, or when it's just not always about just the fight itself. I feel as though those are the moments where he really does have to take his time to really emphasize how would a character like Luffy embody and be in that moment.
The production side of things.
This series has done more for the concept of characters that have rubber-like powers than I've seen done in any particular show or adaptation of anybody else's characters in throughout media when it comes to the silver screen or the small screen dealing with rubber-like powers. Like, we not too long ago had the Fantastic Four movie, and the Fantastic Four brought back with a character like Mr. Fantastic, and Marvel/Disney didn't do nearly as much as Netflix is doing currently right now with Luffy.
A single episode, Luffy, they're able to realize Luffy's many abilities in very creative ways.
And it's mostly going down to the fact that you just have to suspend, realism to an extent. When you're dealing with characters like this, you have to embrace the fact that they're going to be doing some loopy stuff, and you just gotta allow them, and the actors, to be able to say, this is what's going on now. This is happening. We're doing it.
The tone, like we said, for One Piece live action, if you like series like PlayStation's Twisted Metal in terms of wild tone, the Flintstones in terms of the wackiness of production, as well as live action Dr. Seuss's like The Grinch.
Yep.
You get an understanding of what Netflix is going for with One Piece production. The Devil Proof's abilities are expanded upon of also Monkey's Gum Gum Fruit, Nico Robbins' Hana Flute. They made such a very silly ability of multiple spontaneous hands be a lot more creepier than actually
like the sequence where she's going down and taking out a whole slew of Marines is eerie. And then Smoker's abilities with all this smoke going around, and
a lot of smoke of any type of production. I was like, there was no reason why not.
Why we wouldn't be able to really do it, but again, they do it incredibly well.
And Wapple, a character I feel as though is one of the best depictions of a live action character with many components on display here. a work of art of practical effects, CGI, and an actor's performance on display with his Mikaela, his augmentations, even down to his context eyes. There is a lot of things that the many awards did just for this character alone.
Again, the set designs, going Mary, it feels like we're on an actual pirate ship.
They make an actual full-on pirate ship.
And that's like, really, come on, you can't do anything but applaud that.
The shit of the mini islands of Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, Drum Island.
Oh my god!
Good, you see, not many shows that you can literally tell that they did massive construction with VFX extensions, but it still feels like a real place.
The characters of Braggy and Brody, those giants. That's something really. I'm sorry, Dory and Brody. The effects work that went into making them actually appear as if they're giants towards the rest of the cast.
It feels like what they did looks simple enough, but
it's not. There's so many shows and so many movies out here that don't do that, who are not capable of doing simplistic effects work
or giants.
That well.
The music continues to be a good original departure from what you hear on the anime. More of a jazzy, swashbuckling adventure,
and it works.
I would say in extensive practical in-camera stuff. For the fight scenes alone, Rono Zolo, where they do a full-on extensive 100 one man versus 100 fights.
That was some really cool stuff. I'm sorry.
It really comes to mind like a PG-13 version of Kill Bill.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah,
Sanji being the funniest fight scenes of the entire show so far.
So it made no sense why that worked so well.
It worked. The show season 2 overall is in many ways an improvement of what season 1 did.
Yep.
With season 1 being such a whiplash of seeing such a very perceived to be too cartoony to even pull off in live action, to a show that is comfortable with the world that they're living in now.
Yep.
I see this. It's so there are still some things that help. Mainly, the only main thing that's holding it back is, for me personally, is the mixed bag of Luffy still. And some, even though there's some effect, even though we've just praised a lot of the production, some of the effects still feels a little wonky at times. And so, with that said, One Piece Season 2 into the Grand Line, I would say this is a great Season 2.
Yep.
Solid improvement, like we said. Third things are still holding it back from being the best possible version it can be.
But there's still time to also improve and even go even farther beyond.
As of right now, One Piece being now, I feel though it is tied with the Japanese Rurouni Kenshin films as the best live action adaptation
for anime
and manga. And it's only going to get bigger from here.
So it's also wow, if they actually truly pull this off, what else are they going to be able to do down the road?
At this point, it will be safe to do another attempt at Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball.
You can't skip past stuff on that. You really do have to move around in the more appropriate areas.
Because especially how they did with One Piece, the tone of the first story, the Young Goku's arc, will be a solid 3-season story. We don't know. Jury's still on Dragon Ball Z. They're planning on doing Naruto next.
I probably wouldn't have went right into Naruto this quickly. I would have played it safe and just adapted other types of anime.
They did fail on Yu Hakusho in that regard.
Oh my god, that's such a travesty.
But it is going to be an interesting role. What happens next after this? But yeah, that's how we feel about One Piece live action.
Did y'all see season 2? What are y'all looking forward to for season 3? What was your highlights? What was your downfalls? Where did you feel as though they went right with the series? what could they actually do better, or what do they obviously missed on?
Let's discuss. My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment below, and also check us out on all the social media outlets, Threads, Instagram, and Letterboxd for all the content we don't necessarily post on this channel.
See you.
See you.